Welcome back, YouTube. So it's been a little while, but so this is my wife's new to us '02 Tahoe, and she's been looking for a car, borrowing my truck, so I am beyond happy she's got her a car now. But it needs a little things here and there, but overall it's super clean. I was just gonna make like a little playlist of the things I'm gonna do to it. It's got, I don't know, some little things like I normally wouldn't film, but so this little bumper is just kind of, the paint's peeling, it's a little rusty. I'm gonna take it off, sand it, paint it. It's got a misfire, a slight misfire at idle, probably a coil pack, but we're gonna diagnose that in one of the videos. Some other things here and there, and so yeah, just I thought it would be kind of cool to just document it all. And anyways, yeah, I've seen, you know, other channels do similar things, but I really like this car. She was pretty dead set on a Tahoe or, you know, a Yukon Denali or something of that nature of this era. They're pretty, in my opinion, pretty solid, unbeatable drivetrains. I mean, this is a '02 and it drives like it's new. It's been well maintained for the most part. Needs some things here and there, needs some suspension parts, so we're gonna look at that too. But anyways, yeah, so right now what I'm doing is the lady we bought it from, the ad said it's definitely more than an AC charge. The AC doesn't work, and she didn't know. She brought it to like one of the lube places, and they went to charge it up, and they said, oh, it doesn't need a charge. It's something more serious. It either needs like a compressor, or there's a wiring issue, or, well, I looked down there with my flashlight, and guess what? There's no belt on the AC. Guess why? The tensioner failed. The bearing's all loose, and the belt probably just fell off. So luckily it didn't wrap around anything. But yeah, so we're gonna be replacing that, the tensioner, and then the belt, and the other serpentine belt, and then we're gonna make sure the AC system's operational, make sure it's got a good charge, and my wife will stop telling me how hot she is driving around in this thing. So it's a win-win. All right, let's get started. So first thing you want to do is remove all this, the air intake resonator tube and all that. So there's just one clamp there and one clamp there, and then I believe that's it. There's like a you gotta pop off this little fastener, and then so the reason you want to do that is you could probably replace that AC belt and tensioner from the bottom. We can, but you have to take the main belt off first, and if you don't take this off, it's just a pain. If you can even do it. I mean, you probably could, but take the extra, you know, 2 seconds and take this off, because then you get a pretty clear view down there, and they're pretty simple. Luckily, I just did this job, I think last week, for a client, and I believe you just need a 15 millimeter and I got this cool little magnet thing I got some more to hang up some various tools, which actually we need, but it works really good for just holding your miscellaneous tools while you're working. I found that yeah, it's pretty sweet. So basically you're gonna need a trim tool to pop that connector off. You're gonna need a ratchet to obviously take the tensioner off and everything, and then you're gonna need something like this, or I'm gonna go grab my other 3/8 ratchet because it's got a swivel head and extension. It's just, sometimes it's easier. And then there's also a little skid plate, I believe, and that's also 15 millimeter. So there's like 5 bolts that hold it on, I believe. I'm gonna take my whole socket tray just because you never know, and I don't want to crawl back out from under there if I don't have to. And then also, you can either use a flathead or an 8 millimeter to loosen those the clamps that hold the intake resonator on, the air tube. So let's get started. To remove these little clamps here, you can use a flathead as well, but this is easier and quicker. Here, a little trim tool, and you're just gonna pop this off. You can also pop that clamp off and the hose will come off, which probably in some situations would be best, just because these little nubs do like to break. This one popped out pretty easy. So now I'm just going to take this off and we'll get a better look. This tensioner over here on the left hand side, I'm just going to get my wrench. It's a 15 millimeter. Oh man, okay. All right, you just get it on there and just push, take the belt off. So it's actually pretty weak. I can turn it with just this wrench pretty easily. So I did buy that other tensioner and belt as well. So I noticed right off the bat, this battery was, it wasn't at 12.6, it was a little low, and it looks like it's been getting hot. You can see, looks like it's been leaking from the top there. And the alternator on the gauge, it kind of fluctuates a little bit. So I actually did get an alternator as well. I believe it's cooking it. It's charging it at like 15.5 volts at times, and that will fry your battery. So I guess this video has turned into a full-on maintenance video with alternator and battery replacement. Probably going to put a new air filter in as well. So I'll film as much as I can, and you guys are going to get the rundown on quite a few different items. So we'll probably clean out this throttle body as well. Okay, so first things first, there's 2 bolts, I believe, that hold this tensioner on, and I believe they're 15s. Yep. Okay, so we're gonna take those off, take the tensioner off, and then we're gonna go below and take that tensioner off. You know, I've seen a lot of guys that say, you know, they've been breaking bolts loose with their electric ratchet, and they never have an issue. Well, they're always replacing the heads and the ratchets themselves. This thing, I have had this thing for like 7-8 years. I don't break bolts loose with it. If they're tight, you know, I take them out with, I break them loose with the ratchet, and then I use this. So, you know, say what you want, but I wouldn't recommend using this to break bolts loose. So I just took those bolts out, and actually I think there's a third bolt below because it's not really wanting to break loose. All right, I got that other tensioner on. We're below now. Here's that skid plate I was talking about. There's 1 bolt there, 1 bolt there, and 1 there, and then there's 2 on the bottom here. So gonna take those off, and then we'll be able to see better. So there's our tensioner in question, and there's 2 bolts that hold that on, both 15 millimeters. Gates is nice enough to supply us with this pretty sweet little tray. I've been using it for my scope accessories and stuff. I have another one. I don't know why they give you this massive tray for a belt and a tensioner. I mean, probably different items come in it too, and they just generic tray they use, but it's a pretty sweet little tray. So anyways, here's this old tensioner, and I don't know if I can do this, if you can see, but there's a lot of, with one hand it's kind of hard, but you guys can probably hear that. The bearing has play. This new one, no play. So that's either why the belt fell off, or, I mean, the bearing still seems to spin free, but either that or the belt was just old and it fell off. But either way, it's getting a new tensioner, so. Okay, so, got a new tensioner on, got the belt on. So before I get that belt back on, I'm just gonna get this new alternator and battery in. So it's just take off the terminals before you take off a battery. Take off the negative terminal, or before you take off an alternator. Anytime you're disconnecting a hot wire like that, disconnect the battery. But we're replacing the battery anyways, so it doesn't make that big of a difference. And then on these, there's this little support bracket here. There's 1 10 millimeter there and 1 there, and battery comes out. Got that battery in, and now there's just 2 bolts, 2 15 millimeters. I swear everything on this is a 15 millimeter, and 1 10 millimeter for the battery wire, B+, and then there's the connector. And you can tell the difference. Some of these have a 105 amp alternator, and some have a 130 or 145, I believe. The higher amperage alternators are going to have this space in the middle. That's how you can tell them apart. If you're ever wondering which one it is, that's a pretty important thing to know because yeah, I've ordered quite a few of the wrong ones. Sometimes they don't say it on there and you don't know which one it is. Well, that's how you can tell. Didn't even really take that long, but we got the battery installed, alternator, belts, got that throttle body cleaned out. I took that, I was gonna put an air filter in there, but it's like almost brand new. I did spray out the box though. It had some debris in there, some leaves and stuff from the years. So wiped down all these plastics as best I could for now. And then I'm gonna change the oil real quick and that'll be it for today. So I'll show you the little cover here in a minute you take off, but there's 3 7mm bolts you take out, or screws I should say. They're little guys. And then there's this little one here for the cabin air filter. And I just wanted to show this because I haven't taken it out yet, but these are pretty hard to get to, and typically nobody changes them, like, ever. It's pretty unbelievable. So let's see what we find in here. Look at that. Just crud falling out. I believe there's actually 2. Yeah, there's another one here. Let me see here. You gotta kind of dig it out. I might go get like a little pick or something to grab it. I'm fairly certain it just slides out. I don't think there's another cover, but so I'm gonna pull it. Just slides in there like that, and I'm gonna pull it out here in a second. Okay, so I grabbed it with a little pick, pulled it out. See all that dust falling out. I'm telling you, nobody changes these. They start to collapse on themselves. Just full of crap, and you're breathing that in. So, you know, change your cabin filter. And also, it's gonna affect your AC. If that evaporator core doesn't get the air it needs to work properly, and you know, it's a pretty vital part of the AC system. So if you don't have good airflow over that, not only are you not going to get good flow out of the vents, but the air's not going to be as cold as it can be. As you can see, there's quite a difference there. You look at that. It's just clogged. I don't know if you can even see in there, but there's a bunch of crap in there, a bunch of leaves and whatever else. It's sucked up in there, and yeah. Don't want the wifey breathing that in. And there's a direction. See, it says airflow, so that's going to be your blower motor there. It's pushing air that way into the HVAC box. So it goes like that. And then you just slide it back up in there like so. There you go. And then this little cover goes back on there. And then I'll show you the other cover I was talking about. So this is that cover. It just this slides up in there, and then there's 3 bolts. I'm not going to show you how to bolt them in, but there's one there, one here, and then one over there, and it'll hold that up there nice and flat. And then I'm going to clean this off. I always like to, anytime I touch something like this, I clean it off. Not necessary, but I think people appreciate it. Some people don't even notice, but some people do, and it matters. So just gathering up my tools, just one small 5-minute job I was supposed to be doing. Yep. Whew, it's getting warm out here, but so we did quite a bit, and hope you enjoyed this one. It's one of many to come. We're gonna make a lot of upgrades to this rig here, so if you liked it, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell, and if there's any specific you know, thing you want to know how to do on these cars, let me know. I'm going to be going over the whole thing, so you know, let me know if there's something you want to see, something you need to know how to do, and I'll try to get it done. I don't normally do this type of video. It's I'm usually just kind of like diagnostics or certain repairs, but you know, I'm just going to kind of focus a few videos on this. So see you next time. Thanks for watching.